Hi folks, it's ProCare Dental Services. We're coming to you with a three-part video series in which we explain why your independent dental office, even a small one, is losing over $1 million a year without you realizing it. Now, a lot of you will say, well, my dental practice doesn't even make $1 million a year, so how could I lose this money? Well, if you give us another 10 minutes, we'll walk you through exactly how and why. Just out of courtesy, that's a picture of me. My name's Kadir Ahmed. I'm hardly the only person that matters in this company. We've got 20 people that have worked tirelessly for the past 3 years to bring you everything you see, and I'm eternally grateful to all of them. Since we're going to spend the next 30 minutes over the next 3 videos talking about you, you might want to know a little bit about us. We're in this to improve the quality of dental care. We think you got a lot of terrific people in the system, but the system itself is terrible. And so what we want to do is provide multi-million-dollar incentives to dentists who care about the quality of patient care they deliver, and we think that's going to put a lot of things right. We've built 5 multi-billion-dollar businesses from scratch, so we know a little bit about changing an industry, my partners and I. And one of the things you see is you can have good businesses trapped because they're stuck in a bad system. The system you're stuck in today is one in which you hand over millions of dollars in cash and labor to large companies who then turn around and tell you what to do. And that's really got to change if quality of dental care is going to improve. So when you work with us, what's going to happen is you're going to focus on things you do really well, and you're going to be paid a lot more to do those things. You're going to delegate things you don't do as well because you haven't had the business experience or the size of company really to do that. And really the best part is that the cost of delegating to us is so low that any dentist can afford to achieve these results, which is pretty exciting and frankly, which took the longest time in design. So it's an exciting journey and one we're looking forward to taking with you. Just to keep the runtime on these videos manageable, we broke this series into 3 parts. This is part 1, where we explain to you where you're losing these millions of dollars that you didn't know you had. The second video explains why this is going on, and the third, quite obviously, is what you can do to get it back. Our tagline here is that only dentists who can't afford our work are people who don't understand them. I'll skip to the punchline. We're here to add millions of dollars to your practice and charge a few $100 a month to do it. So really, money's not a barrier to what we're doing. I will add to our mission that we're here because we've lost people that we care about to a healthcare system that just didn't work. And when that happens to you and you've achieved some success in life, you make it your business to do something about it. So yeah, this is a great business opportunity for everybody, but at the same time, it's kind of personal for us too. Like you, I own businesses, and when someone comes to you and says, look, your company or your dental practice could be worth millions of dollars more, and you don't need to spend a lot of money to do it, and you don't need to take a lot of time, the natural human reaction to that is, well, why on earth should I believe you? And really, we're going to give you 3 basic reasons. The first and most obvious is we've changed industries 11 times. So yeah, I think we have a little bit of credibility. 5 times we built multi-billion-dollar businesses from scratch. 6 other times record-breaking rates of growth in more mature businesses. So it's important to know that the people talking to you actually have some track record in what they're talking about. The second thing is that, every time we've done it, it's been through introducing a blockbuster product. So we're going to make available to you a blockbuster product in dentistry that's really going to change the way 175 million people behave. And we'll talk to you about what that is. And the last part is really the alternative. So you're in an industry where people pay more, get less, and measure nothing every year. We'll explain each of those statements because I know that's harsh. And you're going to take that to a business through the blockbuster product where people pay less, get more, and measure everything that they do while you're not changing your fees either. So when you're able to do those 3 things, it creates a lot of momentum for change. So I've said this a few times, and I almost apologize for throwing this up, but you need to understand it. 5 times we've built multi-billion-dollar companies from scratch. You recognize all of the names. They're some of the largest businesses in the world, and we'll flip them to you. Another 6 times we worked with bigger companies and drove them to record-breaking rates of growth. These were guys who thought they were stuck and that there was no way to sort of get out of the box that they were in, which is probably the way you feel about the size of your dental practice. The way we did it is much more interesting because we don't really look at companies as much as we look at industries. We try to introduce a blockbuster product, a product that nobody has seen before, but that everybody has to have. and then we supply that product through the people that either the business we run or the people we're working on behalf of, which in this case would be you. So we spent 36 months with 5 really brilliant dental minds to kind of understand the dental industry, and we're very grateful to all of them. So bottom line, you can believe the things that we're saying because we've achieved success 11 times at very, very significant rates. So we talked about changing industries 11 times by introducing a blockbuster product, and that sounds really nice, but you're probably asking yourself, well, what is it in dentistry? And the answer is we're going to replace dental insurance with something that you actually control. And we'll walk you through how we do it. Essentially, we've done it dozens of times in other industries. When you replace insurance with something that a non-insurance company controls, you make billions of dollars for the non-insurance company, and we've lots of track record with that. So today you're in an insurance industry, whether you like it or not, where 175 million people in North America have dental insurance. They're paying on average 6% a year more each year than the previous year, but the claim cap, the amount of money that's actually allocated to an individual person for dentistry, has remained flat. And so when you adjust for inflation, people are paying more and getting less every year. And we'll walk through the reasons why that occurs. It's not because insurance companies are bad guys. It's really because the system itself is irrational. So when you start to make money like an insurance company while you're sleeping, if you like, in addition to the money that you generate from your treatment, obviously you have a much more productive practice. It's worth a lot more money, and really all of your costs and ratios and power in the industry changes. So that's the blockbuster product we're going to talk to you about. So we talk about the current system as one in which people pay more, get less, and measure nothing. Well, this chart shows you how dental premiums have risen on average 6% a year and what that looks like. So that's the cost of buying coverage. Unfortunately, as you know yourself, if you've ever dealt with an insurance company, the amount or the cap that's allowed per patient on most plans has stayed flat for decades. So when you adjust for inflation, that means in real terms, people get less every year. So they're paying more every year and they're getting less because the value of that cap is declining. And this chart now shows you why all that's happening. So this is what happens to a typical dental premium. You allocate some of that for hygiene, you allocate some of that for risk, and then there's a gap called an underwriting surplus, which is the difference between the money that's collected in advance from 175 million people and the money that's actually paid out to dentists. So today, without changing your fees at all, your dental fees are covered by that hygiene liability and that dental risk. So without changing your fees at all, I can tell you that you make nothing, zero, from that underwriting surplus. And that's really what we're looking at changing. So you don't have to change your fees to make a lot more money by doing something that the insurance companies don't do particularly well, or really as well as you do. So I want you to think about all this as almost like an election campaign. On one side, you have the current system, not any one company in it, but an overall system, which says to people, hey, each year you're going to pay more, each year you're going to get less, and to top it off, I can't even tell you how much less because I don't know. And that's going to run against a system where someone says, hey, I'm a new candidate, I want you to pay less each year, I want you to get more, because I'm going to eliminate middlemen and waste that never should have been there in the first place, and then on top of it, I'm going to measure everything that I'm doing so I can prove it to you. When you have those two choices, markets tend to collapse, but they collapse even faster when the people who buy a product, in this case dental insurance, are professionals. Yeah, 175 million people have dental insurance, but the number of people who buy it is much smaller. Because they're people who work within HR in large companies or in unions or associations, etc. So when you have rational professional buyers who are trying to measure the difference between different alternatives, you can get a lot of change really, really quickly. And so what we're going to do is walk into a business that has $60 billion in premium flow and really carve back about $15 billion of waste to you and to the dentists among you who have the brains to actually seize the opportunity. And so we believe that's more than enough to create multi-million-dollar incentives to reward you for providing high-quality healthcare. Now, by now you're saying, okay, great, but why is this only going to cost me a few $100 a month? Well, we'll walk you through the math as we see it. If you change how 175 million people buy something, every $10 you earn per year creates 1.8 billion in revenue. So that's a lot of money. When you think about the fact that there are billions of people around the world who don't have dental insurance, whose coverage is poor, North America is just a start. So there's a lot of financial value for us to help you and for you to work with us. And there's a lot to go around because of the waste and what's there. So that we don't really have any driving pressure to be greedy with you. And that's why we can keep our fees down. Essentially, when you design a business properly, it can create great economic value for everybody that's there. You folks are all stuck in the system because of what you graduated into, and you work so hard that it's hard for you to sort of step back and see how you would design it any differently. So that's why we can keep our fees low and make you a lot of money at the same time. So let's go through it. You're losing about $30,000 a year or more in purchasing because you buy as a small company, but you're buying from much larger companies, and you lack the tactics, the strategy, or the people to make a difference in that. So we'll help you get that money back. Clearly, we just talked about making money like an insurance company, which means you don't need to add patients because you're making money off patients you don't even see, and that adds millions of dollars to your practice and really transforms your life. You don't have to add patients under a program, and most of you won't. But for those who do, yes, clearly, if you're working with patient groups under our model and you want to treat more people because you have some capacity to do so, you can add $500,000 or so a year to that without really altering your structure much. And then clearly, when you have a business that generates a lot more money and can generate that money at will, and at the same time can control its costs at will because now they're a much smaller ratio of expenses to revenue, your practice value goes up. And so we'll talk to you about all that as well. You know, it's no sense having a practice that's worth a lot more money if you can't take some of that cash out. So we're going to give you a way to take money out without going into debt, without losing any control of your business, or without any fixed terms of repayment. So those are the millions we add to your practice for fees of a few $100s a month. We break up what we do then into three services: a purchasing service, a service where we sell the patient plan on your behalf and give you risk analysis revenue that lets you profit like an insurance company from your work. And then, of course, evaluation and liquidity service, where your practice goes up in value, double or triple its current size, and you're able to peel back some of that cash tomorrow morning, in a sense, to have a better quality of life. So the next video describes why you are structured to lose, and then the final video explains what you can do to delegate to win. Been a pleasure to meet you. Kadir Ahmed signing off in this video, and look forward to talking to you in the second one.